In the latest issue of Edge magazine, they talked with Sony's president Yoshida about backwards compatibility that Microsoft showed off at E3, and here's what he said. He said, quote, "I was very surprised because the 360 and the Xbox One use very different types of architecture, and I'm very curious. They showed a short list of titles that work, and doing software emulation means that you have to work title by title. So I'm curious to see what kind of games will be included in those 100 games that they say are going to be compatible by the end of the year." And when pressed on whether or not backwards compatibility can make its way to PS4, he stated, "We don't have backwards compatibility with PS4. With PS Now, you can play your PS3 games on the PS4, but the main purpose of PS Now is that it's a network service. By removing the requirement of games running on the console itself, we can bring PlayStation games to multiple devices, including non-PlayStation devices. And I totally understand people asking for it. If it were easy, we'd have done it. But our focus is creating PS4 games and adding new services. And remaking games on PS4 makes the games even better. With The Last of Us, you can play at 60 frames per second. The same thing goes with Dark Souls 2. Actually, I just finished Dark Souls 2 again on PS4. End quote. So, some people have questioned whether or not backwards compatibility is actually a feature that anybody really wants. You know, was anybody really asking to play your old games on the new system? But as I've stated in the past, I've still got lots of friends who are on the 360. They say that they haven't moved up because they have, you know, so many games that they still play and that they just hate to disregard all those old games. And the fact is that it really was the #1 requested feature since Xbox One has released. Microsoft has a site that you can go make suggestions, and then people can vote for those suggestions. And the #1 request was backwards compatibility. You know, I personally got rid of my 360 library, so I've got no use for it other than the fact that I'm going to be taking advantage of the 360 games that they do offer for free through the Games with Gold. So you're basically getting 4 free games a month now on Xbox One. But I still don't understand how Sony at the very least couldn't see that you own a digital version of a PS3 game and then allow you to stream that game on PS Now. And I also thought Yoshida's comments about remasters were interesting, and I guess this is a question for you. Would you rather buy a remastered version of a game and buy a game twice, if that's what it means, or have backwards compatibility and just take your old games with you? Now, I've told you before I'm not a fan of remasters myself, but I will say this. I do appreciate when gaming companies actually remaster a game and not just up the resolution and frames per second. You know, with Halo the Master Chief Collection, Gears of War Ultimate, Microsoft actually did go through and update the graphics. They reworked entirely certain scenes, and they added content that you couldn't even play on the 360. So you really are getting parts of the game that are completely brand new. And on the flip side of that, you know, people have complained about the God of War 3 remaster. They say, you know, there's comparison videos out there right now, and they say there's really not that much difference between the two. And then the Uncharted collection, we've talked about how it's actually missing content that was on the PS3, so you're getting less content than those previous versions. And then with The Last of Us, they pretty much just upped the resolution and frame rate, but they did include the DLC with that. So, I mean, some people have tried to downplay it. They say Microsoft is late to the party with backwards compatibility, but the fact is they did show up to the party at least. And I think anytime that your console gains more features, it's only a positive. And it's not like, you know, Yoshida was talking about they would rather focus on PS4 games, but it's not like Microsoft, in my opinion, had to hold back AAA games to bring in your old games. Because as far as I'm concerned, I can name off more AAA exclusives coming to Xbox One than I can coming to PS4 thus far. So post your thoughts below. Would you rather see backwards compatibility on PS4, or do you feel that it's a waste of time, and do you feel that it's better to get remasters instead? That does it for me, The Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.